think
no skill, just luck, is what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, come again?
Please. No skill, it's all luck.
Okay, well, if we're going to go there,
This was a quote.
This is a quote. Okay, well, I think the league is pretty much knows that how I talked about this in many podcasts so far this year. And if I did say that last year, then I guess I'm gonna say something here. But
every year when you get out of it, it's nothing but luck.
Okay, yeah. So tell me this. So how much luck do you think is involved? I know that's one of the topics of the league as far as fantasy gods and matchups. How much do you guys feel that luck is involved when it comes to fantasy success?
Well, it's we've definitely. Well, I have tasted both sides of the luck spectrum in the last 2 years. I ended up getting most things falling my way last year.
Give me a percentage. 20%, 0%, 50, 75? What?
I don't know the percent. You and Johnny C and everyone else had all these numbers out there on these posts last year.
What's your opinion?
No, because my opinion is it's, well, I'd say it's 50-50.
Okay, I
really think it's 50-50. I mean, you can make some real.
It's on luck. It's luck is by definition a random event.
I mean, that's actually true. I mean, you can't count on how much luck is involved unless there is a lot of luck involved. It's easy to say somebody's season was all luck afterwards if they had some guys drafted and then injuries and shit. It's easy to say luck after the fact. But before, you can never count on luck in the pretense, is what I've learned from our shitbowl of a season. If you want to put me on the record for that I've learned that luck is not predictable.
Okay,
I think it's all draft day.
Yeah, I agree. Draft day definitely has a lot to do with fantasy success, in my opinion.
With a league our size, if you don't pull a good draft out, it's all done.
Well,
you can't trade, you can't do anything to really improve yourself.
No, I think draft day definitely is important, but you got trades, you got ad drops, free agents throughout the year. There are certainly ways that you can improve your team, but I agree that the draft is a big portion of that. I feel that 75, we're pretty close actually when it comes to the luck argument here, because I feel that 75% of the fantasy success is determined by luck and gods and matchups and destiny. You think 50, and a lot of coaches feel 50 as well. I feel that 25% is based off of managerial decision and basically your kind of what you decide to do with your team, and you're in control of about 25%. And I personally, as I said before, feel that I've been kind of maximizing my 25%, and that's why I feel like I've done a good job in addition to having a lot of the 75% of luck on my side. So that's...
Yeah, I feel like your draft, obviously you were out of it for a while, but whenever you drafted, I remember watching you when you drafted. A lot of people said, "Oh, well, that pick makes sense." So you kind of went with the safe picks, and I thought that Iron Man and I made some safe picks, but it really is about the draft. You can really roll the dice on the draft day. I think the best example of rolling the dice on draft day for Damus, on the hit or miss kind of players. But I think I proved last year. I just drafted the obvious guys that I thought were going to put it in, week week out. I thought I did it again this year, but it just didn't. The cards didn't fall the right. Didn't fall the right way this year.
Well, drafting
very, very disappointing.
Drafting Antonio.
Manning's fault.
Well, drafting Antonio Gates certainly kind of was the kiss of death in a lot of ways. A lot of people that turned a lot of heads, considering your your hatred for that man. So as we move forward here, looking at the next thing we wanted to talk about, for a team who essentially was out of it very early, you guys really have only made one trade to better yourself for the future. How active have you been in trying to sell your players for the good of the Iron Dogs franchise?
Well, Eric, it's very fucking difficult to do when you don't have
anybody to trade. Who wants any of our players?
Exactly. I mean, it's very difficult to do when you have nobody who's actually up on the market. I mean, we really got nothing that anybody wants to wipe their ass with right now. So right now we're hoping Tim Tebow keeps throwing touchdowns. If you want to share with the people what you and I agreed upon.
I think that people are fully aware. That was a trade that happened about a month or so ago. But that fantasy point incentive. If Tebow hits a certain marker there, you get a 5th round pick, or if he doesn't, it's a 12th round pick.
Yep.
And yeah, he's hovering right around that at that point. Now,
it's been very interesting so far. He's right around that average mark that you and I mathematically figured out. He's hovering right around that number, so it'll be interesting to see if he can sustain.
Well, he does have Jesus on his side, so...
he does have Jesus Christ.
Could you guys please tell us the story behind the wonderful Iron Dogs team logo?
Great story, actually. Dad, you want to tell him?
Nope.
Well, we decided before the season, it was the deadline. We needed to figure out a team logo, and I said, "Well, Dad, what do you think? You want to represent ourselves as? Do you want to try to throw together a picture of something, to Iron Man and a dog or something like that?" He said, "No, honestly, I don't give a shit." And I said, "Okay, well, if we don't give a shit, then we might as well be a steaming pile of shit." So we literally Google searched a steaming pile of shit. There you go.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure you guys are probably going to be looking to get a nice new fresh logo with new uniforms and things like you probably want to put this season behind you going forward. But I mean, it's certainly every time I see the logo, I certainly get a little queasy. So for what that's worth, you certainly accomplished that. Next.
Yeah, I think we threw up in our mouth a couple times when we actually enlarged the picture. It's absolutely repulsive in every way, shape, and form. I don't know if we're going to keep it for next year. May or may not have been a jinx. But, yeah.
Okay.
That's how we feel about it.
Sure. Iron Dog. Prior to the season, you stated that you and co-coach Jeff Gard are quote diametrically opposed to what you want to accomplish this season. Setting aside just your record, have you two been able to kind of get back on the same page, or is there still a little dissension between you two?
No, that was just in regards to the first pick of Peyton Hillis, and who was correct.
Well, it's pretty obvious where that stands now. So, everyone else was right besides the goddamn guard dog. So, everyone else can,
Are you guys maybe, I mean, obviously, as you guys said earlier, hindsight is 20/20. You look back at things, and obviously, it's a lot easier to, make it say, hey, this was right, this was wrong. After knowing the results, I totally understand and agree with that.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure you guys probably aren't very happy with Peyton Hillis this year. Phillip Rivers has been a little bit of a bust as well. Probably one of the bigger, him and Chris Johnson, I'd say, are probably two of the biggest, fantasy goats this year. I mean, they haven't gotten hurt. They just haven't been doing good. So, I mean, it's definitely been tough, and obviously Reggie Wayne hasn't been helping you out, and Gates getting hurt. But, well, let's talk about something more positive. Let's talk about Coach Iron Dog's league role. Coach Iron Dog, you are the Dynasty photographer, and you do a fantastic job, let me tell you. Let me ask you, have you ever taken any photography lessons, or are you just naturally a gifted picture taker?
Well, I used to do porno.
There it is. I knew it. I knew it.